Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, Gamer K. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little afraid. I'm a little excited because I'm a little scared for Telltale because, after hearing some news about them and the fact that their game, the expansion, was good, but didn't really bring what people wanted. And the fact that The Wolf Among Us Season 2, one of the games I have waited the most for almost 14 years, 13 years, starting next year. Oh my god, it's the longest I've ever had to knowingly wait for a sequel. And I'm not counting the Assassin's Creed sequels, and I'm not counting the Kingdom Hearts sequels, because we got games in between to fill the void. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. I could read the comics. I read novels. I read manga. I don't really read comics that much. So I'm really hoping that they pull it off, given the budget and the money that they got, and the time that they put into it to make sure it wasn't released this year, to avoid any bugs or issues that we would hate and bag about. So in lieu of that topic, one of Telltale's greatest games, for me, was a two-season game, the Batman the Telltale series, which gave us some really great different takes on Gotham's rogues gallery, and of course, the world's greatest detective, the Dark Knight himself. And since I did the first one last year, and I did the second one earlier this year, or a couple months ago, I can't remember when, I decided to give into ideas of how, if Telltale can stay above water after The Wolf Among Us release, which they will, because that game's going to get downloaded like non-stop, and hopefully they'll get back to the groove of things, if they can do a Season 3 of Telltale's Batman. A couple ideas that could come to mind. So I'm talking about some plot elements, some characters that they could do, some choices, and yes, just like how Season 1 did for Season 2, you can choose the choices that you picked from Season 1 into implementing into your story, like all the major selections. And you could do the same thing for Seasons 2 again. So it will go in sections of Season 1, Season 2. You pick the choices that you want, and you can play them out from there, which is always a fun idea. It adds a little bit more of replay value if you want to do it with different choices. With things like that, I write down the choices I make so I can always remember for the next time. Now, going into it. Because of the choice ending that we get in the end, to either give up being Batman or give up being Alfred. What the hell? Like, why would you make us choose that? That's like, that's like choosing me to give up my mother or my father. I mean, granted, I do have scenarios for both, but at the same time, it's like an insult to do that. It's an annoying choice, but at the same time, I would love to see what the consequences are a little bit. Considering this series doesn't have Robin or Nightwing or anyone, or Batgirl for that matter. Which I do love how they don't have those characters, even though Batman's... I think in this game, it's only been like a couple months to a couple of years of Batman's career as Batman, as Bruce's career as Batman in this series, in this telling. And a lot of things happen in Season 2 that need to be frickin' addressed. First off, we do technically have a partner in did it cut out? It did cut out, didn't it? Damn, sorry, charger, it's just error. In getting kind of an apprentice within Tiffany Fox. After we find out that she's the one who killed Riddler at the beginning of episode 1 at the end of season 1 of episode 1, season 2. Depending on which choice you make at the end of episode 4, we'll either get Vigilante Joker who helps Batman, which is the stupidest thing I have ever seen. I played it once, always went with actual villain Joker, because that makes the most sense. Telltale, I get you were trying to do something different, but it's... You know what? It's not as worse as Titan Joker. So, I mean, at least it kind of fits with John seeking his own identity and trying to take inspiration by helping the Bat. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, it's something I don't personally care for. I do enjoy it, but I don't really care for it. I always go for the villain Joker. And then, yeah, so going back into that, like, having the choices of giving up Alfred or giving up being Batman, I think if they did a season 3, Alfred would come back anyway, so giving him up seems kind of like a non-hurting choice. Like, he's gonna come back, he might get in danger somehow, so he'll come back and reconcile with Bruce. So I don't see that choice being so impactful as much as giving up being Batman would. Also, I gotta say, Troy Baker does a fan-fucking-tastic job of playing Bruce Wayne. As a Batman, he's great, but it's really as Bruce, which these two games dive more into, and it gives us something great. Because like I said, in a lot of games, we're always Batman, we're not so much as Bruce Wayne. Okay, ironically, I just put this beautiful Gotham Arkham character piece that I got this year. It's Penguin, Catwoman and Selina and Catwoman, Bruce and Batman from the retrospective shows. The artist actually told me that he was playing the Arkham games and had Gotham in the background, and a light bulb clicked that he's going to do the pictures of the characters and their Arkham versions, which I do like. It's kind of like in Gotham, how the show was except for the final episode, no Batman, which I do love because we got more on Bruce's development after the tragedy of his parents. Him kind of growing up without them, kind of taking responsibility, and falling for the street girl who has to stay in his house, and all the cute moments from them in Gotham. Oh, I loved it so much. Oh. Why? I love Batcat. Shut up. So again, having Bruce be a primary character instead of having him be the persona of Batman. But it brings up to a good point of which one's the mask and which one's the true. I believe they're both. So that brings a great impact for the story. And also, Anthony Gruber, who plays Joker, he hit it out of the park. He is in my top 5 Jokers of all time. Like I said before when I did the review, he's in my top 5 Jokers. But as much as I would love to have him return for a 3rd season, we had an entire game developed on Bruce and Joker's relationship, the good and the bad of it, and obviously the funny. So we already had episode 4 of season 1 where they met, kind of got interactions a little bit, and then he saw Batman at the end of the end of season 5 of episode 5. And then throughout the whole season 2, there were bits and pieces. And again, we don't need Amanda Waller to return. Get that witch out of here. I hate her. And having the villains that we met in season 2, Harley, Freeze, Bane, having them return too would feel a little too much. Because again, we got almost an entire season of them. And at the same time, I would love to have a couple new villains come out of the woodwork. Maybe Scarecrow, maybe... because he was in episode 4, maybe we get a full version of the ventriloquist, where he actually has the Scarface puppet, and and there would have to be some great QTE sections, and not QTE sections, having to choose the right dialogue, a confrontation between the ventriloquist and Scarface, playing them against each other once we get more of a psychological profile on them. And that would be pretty good. Like a brief, quick section that inevitably leads to the larger thing of the story. We could have Penguin and Two-Face return, because throughout the second game, while we were in the Batcave, we got to check out the news, like newspapers, but it focuses on them, but it doesn't really focus on them. It was kind of like a backdrop thing, like it was way in the back of the crowd, while the new villains, the Pact and Amanda Waller and Joker took center stage of the whole season, which I do love. I just want a couple new villains to take primary position in the next season. So again, Scarecrow, ventriloquist, maybe bring back Two-Face in a way. Maybe if it's not so much of it, you know what? There's so many villains they could do. I mean, they definitely took creative liberties with the Lady Arkham character in season 1. So I'm not saying I want a brand new original villain. I do. I really want a minor villain to take center stage in the next season, if they ever do one. Because we got a all honesty, I just thought of this. Having a Poison Ivy villain come out of the woodworks would definitely add a lot of drama and add a lot of creativity with the storytelling and the manipulation. And as far as voice actresses go for Poison Ivy, the one who did her in the Injustice games and the Arkham games would be good, but she's already done that, so maybe get someone new, like I would say Laura Bailey, because she's got that sensuous voice that allures people, because, I mean, for God's sake, she's voiced Lust, for Christ's sake, and Catherine, but she's already voicing Catwoman, which I will get to her points in a bit. So as far as Poison Ivy and Scarecrow as great villain ideas, for Poison Ivy, God, I'm blanking on voice actresses here. I think a great new voice for Poison Ivy could be maybe Charme Leah. I hope I'm pronouncing her first name right. Who voices Lucy from Fairy Tale and Makoto from Persona 5. So having her voice be the botanical seductress that is Poison Ivy could definitely give a new leaf on one of the most seductive villains in all of comic books. And for Scarecrow, I'm going to be honest, having him have the creepy voice of Steve Bloom would be perfect. I'm just throwing it out there of my ideas of what could happen. And for Ventriloquist, again, having him be the minor villain that brings us to the main threat, but at the same time, still having him relevant. Because what they did with Carmine Falcone, and the very first 2 episodes, they built him up so big, but at the same time, they dropped him like a sack of potatoes. So, giving the small villain a big role is what Telltale tends to do half the time, so it will definitely work. Going to Catwoman in this. Again, depending how the relationship went, that you can pick throughout season 1 and season 2. I mean, yeah. Depending, again, and also depending on which, on either evil Joker or vigilante Joker, there are two different things that happen. One, Selina is more with you in the final trap of the Joker. The second one is when she's being collared by Waller and forced to work with her. You know, that whole Suicide Squad bomb implementing into the collar, and if you try to get away, you get blown up. And then during that, we expunge her record clean, which I do freaking love. So having her come back again would create great tension and great romance moments between her and Bruce. We didn't get anything as sizzling as episode 3 of season 1, but oh boy, I took notes on for romance. Shut up! I swear to God, I'm going to find a way to delete you one day. And also, to have a little bit more, I did love how the Riddler and the Joker sections had really great mind puzzles of stuff to do. It didn't feel like they took up a lot of episodes 1 and 3, and then episode 5 for Joker's whole shtick. I mean, I'm not saying we need another puzzle section, but we do kind of need, like, I really did love the whole deduction sequences in this game as Batman in order to deduce what happens at a crime scene. I really, really do love it when we get to do those, because after Arkham Knight, I needed a lot of the deductions, the detective work stuff, because we got very little of it. So I need my fill. Also, I need that all the choices that we make to make sense and also feel like they actually progress in different directions, which I do love that each season did that. So if they ever do a season 3, they need to do that. And they need to do it really, really well, because there are so many great characters, so many great villains that they can really mess up with our choices. Also, I'm not going to say I want this, but Lady Arkham wasn't technically presumed dead in the end of the season 1. So if she were to come back, depending on here's the thing. I'm normally good at deducing when the twist is going to appear, but that one threw me for a big loop, and I loved it. At the same time, though, depending on the final choice that you make at the final battle, it's either going to come back and bite you in the ass, or it's not going to matter. So, which also kind of makes sense if Alfred leaves or you give up being Batman. So, depending on which two those are, they could bring her back. And again, I want Two-Face and Penguin to make a return because they were great. They were fantastic in season 1. And then in season 2, I expected to go to the prison and talk with them or something. But no, we just get newspapers on them, which is very, very, very annoying that we didn't get to do much. But we did get a lot of trophies in the Batcave. So again, I got a good majority of ideas of what a third season of the Batman Telltale can bring us. But at the same time, I really want them to still stay, to innovate it, to make better situations, better characters. Because that's what seasons 1 and 2 did. They elevated from each other, and they still kept the same amazing story elements that both seasons had, and integrated them together. So by hoping for a season 3, and I hope I'm not the only one out there who wants this, and to have scenes with Tiffany joining in every now and then, not to become Batgirl. We can't do that. We can't do the obvious in this. And I do hope that they don't go that route. Because if they do, it's going to feel like they're tacking on a lot from previous games and previous stories. And that's not what Telltale does. I mean, yeah, they take reference from certain stories and certain subjects, but they always still make it their own, and I do love that. So I tackled ideas for villains, returning characters, some choices. You know, one thing that really bugged me is that Harvey Bullock didn't make that much of an appearance. He was only in a small bit of season 2. So I would love him to be back, and for us to, imagine if he's one of the characters that we need to, one of the choices between either going as Bruce to solve this situation or be Batman and go doing this situation with Harvey. I would say he's a conflicted, corrupt cop who's done too much, and it's up to us in order to get him to trust us and to give us the information he seeks. We bring him back to what if there was a scene, where an old crime scene that Harvey goes to every now and then to think about the failure that he did, and we kind of inspire him to be a better cop. Yeah, you know what? Let's go do what Gotham did. Let's have a lot of the villains be some of the corrupt officers of the GCPD. Because technically, because of what happened in season 2, Gordon got screwed over a lot. Gordon got screwed over more in the season 2 than Deathstroke did in Arkham Knight. Yeah, that's how bad it was. So obviously there must have been a power vacuum after Gordon's dismissal or whatever happened to him. And a lot of trust between him and Batman kind of got strained that way. So at the same time, I think having corrupt cops, having Commissioner Loeb be a main threat here, because he wasn't a main threat in Arkham Origins. I mean, he had less screen time than Deathstroke in Arkham Knight. So that sucks. So having not just the supervillains be the villains, but having the GCPD itself be a villain. That way it can definitely feel like something unique. We're tackling the supervillains, but at the same time, we have to take on the corrupt police, who are somewhat getting kickbacks from some of the criminals, in a way. So it does feel like we gotta rebuild the GCPD by ourselves and get back Gordon's trust in us, his grip on reforming the GCPD, and by healing Bullock's corrupt heart I mean, it could make for some great scenes. I'm telling you, it could work. And because stories like this have only been done in like the TV shows or the movies, and very, very little in the games, we can have a great narrative for this. I think it could work. All right, so I talked about pretty much everything, and that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. That's my ideas for Batman, the Telltale series, Season 3. I really hope anyone who watches this, I hope you guys enjoy my ideas. I hope you enjoyed the kind of the things I wanted to say. This is going to be a basic video because I got no images to point up or anything. So, yeah, pretty simple episode this week, guys. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and join me next week where I end the month by just watching one of my favorite YouTubers, an old video of his from some of his old friends. Yeah, things have happened and things are not good anymore, but I still love the old videos just to laugh, just to see them screw around playing a game which is probably going to make me laugh and probably not. So, let's take a look. This is Gamer K, logging out.